Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Connell from ODI Leeds. And I'm going to talk to you about innovation and data and being open. Who's heard of the ODI? Some of you? Who's heard of Tim Berners-Lee? Brilliant. So we know Tim. The ODI was set up, it's almost 5 years old. Got a birthday party 2 weeks' time by Tim Berners-Lee and Nigel Shadbolt. Martha Lane Fox is on the board. So we're starting off from a great place. Who's heard of ODI Leeds? Some of you. Brilliant. So we are, in effect, a mini version of the ODI. So we are all about connecting, equipping, and inspiring people with data. But we do it in Leeds. We don't do it around the world. We're really lucky that we're a pioneer node, which basically means we've managed to turn what we do into a business. So we are sustainable, we are not funded, we're independent, and My Society know us, so they've been to see us. And I'm just going to tell you a bit of the story about how we got there and what we plan to do, and also some of the things we've done and we've learned on the way around innovation with data. So this is us on the top floor of Munro House in the middle of Leeds. And we're talking about data today, but place is also really important. And having somewhere to do stuff is also important too. So that's us. And that's a picture I took yesterday of our new space. So if you've ever been, we've now got some new walls, and we've got nearly 75 meters squared of white walls to draw on, which is amazing. And we've got some cool new chairs as well. At the back there, that is a massive whiteboard, and we've got some new tech and a new sound system, so the party's coming soon. But it's really important, the space, you'll all know it instinctively, but it is really important. So we've got a nearly 3,000 square foot loft in the middle of Leeds on the top floor of Munro House. And we had to think about what did we do. So we're almost 4 years old. And if you ask me the story of how we set up, we're not quite sure. Most of it's my fault, but then we've got a big team, a growing team around us about why we set up what we set up. But it was mainly to do stuff in Leeds that was really important around data, around cities, around people, around tech, around civic innovation. But it was also around how we can bring what's being done elsewhere to Leeds, but also share what we do in Leeds and the great community we have there. So we had to think about what we did. So open innovation with data, that's a large subject. Open innovation is a piece, data is a piece. Doing it together is amazing. We have a venue and a meeting room. So this is all about what the business model is. We have an innovation and collaborative workspace. So that's about, we've learned what works in a space to help people innovate. And we're based in Munro House. So what does it mean? So we've got a space. And it's really about letting people, when they come, use that space as they wish. So everything we have is on wheels, if you ever come. So everything can be moved around. We've got lots of white walls. We've got stuff you can draw on. We have lots of Post-its, if you're there. But we don't try and tell people how to use stuff. There's no real rules. It's quite fascinating when different types of people join in the space. Most people get that it's help yourself, tea and coffee, and you've got to tidy up after yourself. If you come from some other institutions where they've been looked after and mollycoddled, and maybe some larger corporate institutions, we don't know what's going on. Who makes the tea? Well, it's just over there. Oh, we've run out of milk. Well, there's a fridge there. And that's all part of the pitch. When we started, if you'd have said to us, you're going to have 10 sponsors from across the public and private sector who all want you to be successful, we'd have said you are having a laugh. If we got 2 sponsors, we'd have been amazed. They've all realized that you can't innovate on your own. They've all realized that being open is about contributing, collaborating, and giving something back. And we'll talk about them in a minute. Innovation is something that we do that we don't talk about. So I'm going to give you some examples in a minute. And then something at the bottom, we weren't expecting to do projects and build products, but people have asked us to do it, so we have done projects and we've built products. If any of you have done personas, there's some lovely personas, but there's people using our whiteboard in the space. That's us at Travel Hack 2. So we worked with Transport for the North. If any of you have used a bus in the north of England, does anyone know how much it is before you get on that bus? Yeah. No, it's impossible. Does anyone know where the buses go? No, it's impossible. We're working with them, and we built their open data and strategy in a day with 80 people together. That was quite a stressful day. These are our sponsors. We can't do what we do without them. Each one of them has a separate sponsorship arrangement with us. We deliver different things for them. They all want different things. If you're from the public sector, you want to know how to publish your data, how to get value, how to collaborate, have a space to do stuff. If you come to our space, it's definitely not a local authority, it's definitely not a university, it's definitely not a combined authority looking at transport. If you're from the private sector, you want to know how to, where your new business is coming from, how you're going to create new stuff, how you're going to collaborate. And for each of our sponsors, 10 of them, we've all got specific pieces of value that we've created. It might not necessarily be financial value, but it is valuable. They were mostly with us at the start, and they're all still with us now, 4 years later, which is amazing. And we've got, cross fingers, I can't say this, Transport for the North and the NHS are probably going to be sponsors too. I hope I haven't jinxed it. Innovation. So it happens all the time. So something will happen each week at ODI Leeds by people being together, coming in, and something new will happen. Our sponsors work out of our space. Our co-workers work out of our space. We've got small businesses, larger businesses working with us all the time. The co-op are there this week. My Society have been there. MEN are in the space. It's really important that we have that interaction. And these are some of the specific things we've done over the last year. So we did Flood Hack, which if you're in York, the Boxing Day floods were a bit of a stressful time for many people across Yorkshire. Highways Hack with Highways England. How are they going to innovate in terms of a world of new data and transportation? Air Hack about air quality. And we've just done the work with DFT around travel. And we're just about to do stuff with Transport for the North and DFT about what we do next. These are some of our clients. Adobe's on there, which got a lot of stress. Is that about open data or not? Maybe not. Probably is. And these are some of the products we've built. So we've got a mini car counter, which Nick Jackson helped with. A car counter that should cost 30 grand for Highways England. We built one in 2 days on an 80 quid Android phone, and it's in the cloud, and we've got the data. Data cities, new stuff around how you measure economic structures in cities. The Leeds Bins app, if you've ever seen that, that's pretty cool. And then we've built a clearer plan with the Future Cities Catapult about bringing all the data that's available about planning in one place, and you can then push one button and have one report. So, a couple of quotes that we've used about it. If you've ever read Stephen Johnson, put yourself in new environments with new perspectives, and you are going to have better, sharper, more original ideas. So if you're going to do innovation, create a network, get involved in a network, be part of it. This is really important to us, so Cognitive Edge work with Dave Snowden. How do you create innovation? Starvation, pressure, perspective change. If you're going to do it, you need that. Without it, it's not going to happen. An example. What film is this from? Yeah. So do you remember the bit where they draw it on the board and they say the cross on the board is that's when they run out of oxygen. Here's all the stuff you've got. You've got to build it. That's what we create at ODI Leeds about how you create innovation. So starvation, pressure, perspective change. And this is about us. So we turn up every day and we do stuff because innovation takes application as well. Accept that the world's complex. do stuff, experiment, learn, and improve. Use the network. Use the power of the network to share, be open, share it again, and learn. And this is how we measure ourselves. So I tweeted out our dashboard, which we're really proud of. It's brilliant. Look on our ODILeeds.org. It's on the front page. But I basically measure our team and what we do about creating one compelling story a month about what we do. Now, if you know about that, the effort required and the work happens around it to create one compelling story takes a lot of work, but our team is measured on that. So how do we do that? And that's really helped us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And if you come, it will be fun.
Thank you, Paul. I'm going to throw it out to you guys very, very shortly. But I've got a sort of higher level question, I think, about cities.
Yeah.
We've been on this journey with cities the last few years, particularly, I think, first of all, in the public sector, as cities being the resolution to start focusing on, maybe for decision-making, for funding. The third sector is also following that pattern and the devolution of funding there. Where are we on that trajectory? Has it got more to go? Are we going to become more city-centric over the next few years, or has that run its course already?
Okay, so if you look at the demographics, if you look at the way things are, cities are the drivers of innovation, the drivers of economic growth. So the answer is yes. And if you look at the way, so ideas and work grow exponentially, the more connections you have. So most things are linear, but when you get into cities, humans behave, and then you get an exponential growth in that. So it's difficult to say. It's not going to stop, and it's going to carry on. But we're really, really. So I'm quite balanced. I'm a northerner with chips on both shoulders. Okay. And if you follow us on Twitter and you follow my partner in crime, Tom Forth, who's head of data, he's monomaniacal about the way in which independence devolution for the north of England and cities are going to be how we are going to create economic growth. And, get rid of the imbalance of investment around London and the idiocy of decision-making that happens there, and the decision-making should be happening here. So if you want to go on, I can go on all day about how that should change and needs to change.
I'm wondering, is the movement towards cities and city-centric apps and services something that it's not too late to get in on already? Is this a trend that people could start investing in now?
Yeah, but the data doesn't exist. So Citymapper only works in London because of TfL and the way in which London has been separated from the rest of the country, and the way that transport was privatised by Thatcher, and that poster boy doesn't work anywhere else because of so many reasons. If you're looking at, we're working on a number of ways of creating and making available data that city apps can use. I was having a little bit of a discussion with the New Economics Foundation this morning on Twitter that they want to build a cooperative version of Uber. They want to spend some time working on a policy. I said, you should just build it. So if people want to do that, lots of conversation happening around that. Not many people are actually doing stuff apart from our friends at My Society.
So what are you looking for? What's the ideal collaboration? You want to
we
aggregate the data?
We want to do cool stuff. We don't aggregate the data. Data Mill North does that.
Okay.
We are a convener, a deliverer, a builder of connections. So we're looking for people in York to get involved. We're looking for people across Yorkshire. Possibly, 99% sure we'll have ODI North happening next year. So we want to do more cool stuff.
Yeah. So with people in the audience with a civic-minded app or idea.
Yep. We would say just get on with it, and we'll help. People often say, how could we do that? We say, we're not going to do it for you. We're a really small team. But if you do cool stuff, we'll help you do that.
Okay.
And it's really important.
Thank you. Questions for Paul, please.
Okay, so if you go to odileeds.org/dashboard, that's how we measure ourselves. So a number of events, who's been, all our weblogs, our Twitter, it's all there. Check it out. We also put on there how much money we've got, how we've, over time. So that's easy. We set up because I got frustrated. I'll use that word rather than something else. With some of the ways in which institutions based in London were coming up to Leeds and York and across the north, asking for money to support them to do stuff in our cities, and then going back down to London, when I knew that there were many people able, capable, could do all of those things and would know the landscape, knew what needed to happen, and it would be a much better deal. So I, as you do, met up in quite a few pubs with people, talked about it, and instead of talking about it, we decided we needed to set up something. At the same time, I ended up on a Skype call with Gavin Starks, the CEO of the ODI. He talked about his node network and how they wanted to give their brand, their support to organizations that we were talking about. And their support was, they would basically give everything they would have. They had no money. That's what they said, but they had no money, but they could give us everything they had, which was a much better transaction than some of the other interactions you have with publicly funded organizations. Okay. But the space was really important. Having a physical space was something we knew. I'd been to, I'm quite old, so I remember raves. Well, I'd been to similar type things at the space at the top floor of Munro House, and I knew it could sort of work. So once we cleared the pigeons out and the bar and all that stuff, we set up.
Thank you.
With no money.
We've run out of time on our countdown, and I think you've given us a really good idea of the ballpark that you operate in. I think the first part of your speech was kind of like, come and visit our space. We're really proud of the space. Yeah. So there's an open invitation.
Founders book in, come and see us at one of our events. We have open Friday, so come then.
Brilliant. Grab Paul later on, and a round of applause for Paul, please. Thank you. Cool.